All right, guys, here we go. No dawdling, no dawdling. One. So, this is the last week that I do 3 days of PT. Hey, look, I'm wearing pants. What? The last 3 day a week PT day. The last Friday of the 3 day a week weeks for PT. Does that make sense? I'm like getting blown out by this light, right? Whatever. Well, look, now I have color. And the first time on a Friday that I had a different therapist. That was her name was Judy today. Today her name was Judy, if that's a little more clear. They introduced her as a PTA. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I feel like if I go look it up, it'll be like that's a term used all the time. So it means personal physical trainer assistant or aide or something. I really like the therapist I regularly have, and I think I talked about last time we had Susanna, and she was fine. And this one was a little less fine, still fine. I would still give her like a B. But I'm pretty harsh critic. As anybody who's played Destiny or rated Destiny with me can probably attest. Boy, I think the idea was, as I understood last time when I had a different therapist, the idea was that they generally like double book, or there's certain tasks in the day-to-day or repetitive physical training, physical therapy, that it's like you don't need the highest end person staring at you while you do stretches and you do, well, I mean, they're all stretches or whatever, but there's like a person doing analysis and saying you should do this, and then there's someone saying you're doing the thing good, keep it up. And so I guess I'm starting to be at that level where it's more repetition over a long period of time to keep things. I do this to start building towards a goal. My goal when I first went in, I told them, was like, I want to be as strong as I was before, and I was trying to get stronger back then. So, you know, my interpretation of things right now is that I'm going to actually be getting there as soon as they let me. I have to acknowledge I'm still. This is week 3 of PT, which is week 4 of recovery. I gotta calibrate and not overdo it. Like last night I cleaned the house and vacuumed for like 2 hours or something because it just had fallen behind in all the convalescence and stuff. And, you know, admired like, oh, the vacuum is lighter and things like that. So very cool. But you know, I shouldn't push it. And I was pushing it because I was pushing the vacuum, but I wasn't pushing it. It wasn't that big a deal. Yeah, today, compared even to last time, she's going through the checklist given to her from the previous, the new upgraded, intense, heavier weights, more resistance, but still within reason, version of things. And we had a couple of funny moments. At one point, she said, "Can you?" I said to her, actually, we'll do this one first. At one point, I'm doing some of the exercises, and I look over and I see she's on a laptop, and I'm okay, she's taking notes or something. But one of the things that I find really useful when you're doing physical therapy is to have the trainer like watch you and watch your form. Form is really important. Like I learned from the Franco Columbu playbook of free weights and weightlifting, about form and how well it targets, and don't swing your weights, move them slowly, all those good things. God dang it, I keep doing that. So they probably have more commonly, I would assume, because not every, like, there's less weightlifters than there are not weightlifters. Most people aren't weightlifters. So I'm sure when someone's doing a weight thing, when they're, you're doing it wrong, your form's a little off, or try to keep your head, your shoulders down and keep your focus, this and that maybe people, just over time it gets like old with people being defensive. Oh, tell me I'm doing it wrong or whatever. Just passive, just passing, not passive, but just passing, like, fine, I'll do it right now. So in my case, I'm like, please tell me I'm doing it right or wrong, because I really want to do it right and get things going. So I look over, she's on the computer, and I say, can you let me know if my form is off? And she's like, there's a mirror there, and goes back to the computer. I was like, you could take that really wrongly. Like, yeah, you do it yourself, jackass. I didn't necessarily catch that vibe. I think it was like, I could do that, and also you can do it when I'm distracted, just like informative. And so I look over at the mirror, which is just clearly there in front of me, and it's about a 4-foot mirror, and I'm standing in it, probably up to like my pecs goes off the top of the mirror. So I'm like, well, I was like, okay, I see the mirror. I don't really fit in the mirror, so if you could give me a hand real quick, or I could move backwards and make myself fit in the mirror or whatever. It's hardly the end of the world, As she's going through a lot of the checklist given to her by Audrey and Susanna from the previous 2 sessions, she's doing them. Her interpretations of them are like slightly different than I expect. Like, we didn't even do this, which was definitely something we did the last 2 days, which including some isometric versions of this for dynamo tension. And she was just like, just do it with your hand. And I was like, really? Because I was doing it without it. But then we also had some ones I hadn't done before. There was one where I'll do 2 more, and I'll show you the position we were in. There was one where we were sitting there, not quite arm wrestling. She's like, we can do it like arm wrestlers, but then it was like this, and she's grabbing my hand and pulling it, and I'm sitting there a little hunched over and stuff, but I'm sitting there and I'm looking at her, and she's about 5'4" maybe, she couldn't be over 5'6", and I'm thinking, if I was my old self, I could like curl this lady. I could literally like pick her up just with my arm. Like, I like to play with my nephews, and we would arm wrestle, and I arm wrestle like the both of them, and I can make it real fun. Like, oh, you almost got me, oh, but it's all in my control. And then they got creative. They would, oh, but if we tickle Uncle, we can win and stuff. So that became like a fun little game. And she's sitting here going like, I'm gonna pull on your arm and you pull against me, because she doesn't want to give me a ton of resistance. So definitely the move would not be to try and like curl this poor lady who's just trying to like help me activate and rebuild my bicep. That would be insane. Move into the last 10 reps of 10. That was the other thing I kept asking her. How many reps? She's like 3 of 10. I'm like, well, some of these were 10 of 10 last time. Not all of them. Not even a majority of them. But she was just kind of like, it's 10 of 10. It's 10 of 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me try something here, because I don't want to keep losing the thread of our talking. I'm just going to run a stopwatch here. So, we're going to do some pectoral stretches and exercise and they involve leaning with your hand way up on like a pillar. And that's how we did it the first 2 times. And she says, I want you to come with me into this other room. And I was like, really? Like, I've never gone in this other room. And honestly, the room looks like a break room. Like, there's just people's lunches and junk everywhere. I'm like, this isn't, the normal room is like a very clean sort of gym with like benches, like big, soft bed looking things. And she's like, we're going to go and do it in this room. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. And I walk in the room and it's a thing I definitely notice walking into rooms. Like the ceiling is maybe 7 foot. So I was like, oh, wow, the ceiling's kind of low in here. And then she says, put your arm up on this wall in the doorway and lean on it to stretch it, do the pec stretch, and then we'll do the exercise. And I'm like, I put my hand up and it just goes right through the tiles of the ceiling, into the like crawl space essentially or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I just put my wall on my hand like through your ceiling. Is that okay? And she's like, oh, that's funny. And I'm like, no. Like I could flick the tiles of the roof that are like all askew. I'm like, my hand is in your crawl space. I don't mind. I'll put my hand in there. There's nothing in there but dust, I assume. And they don't rats like attacking me or some shit. So it's not that big a deal. But I'm like, if you want to, she's like, oh, I didn't realize you're so tall. I'm like, yeah. I mean, the last time we did it, the lady, Susanna, had me set up for some of those old stretches that we don't do anymore. Instead, we do the big hand raises. She had me set up to do some of those on a bench. And she's like, okay, step backwards and do the stretch. And I like step backwards, stick my foot out, and like, I just trusting her. And when I did it, I kicked a bunch of the equipment, and she's like, oh, I didn't think your foot was going to go that far. Like, yep. I mean, it's probably goes, it's kind of like a cat. Like sometimes you see a cat walking around and you're like, oh, that's a cat. And then the cat like stretches out to do something or get comfortable. And you're like, oh my God, the kitty just got like twice as big. So I'm sure there's something to that degree going on with my scenario as well. And my arm is stretching out and then my leg's going out. Yeah, it's going to be super long. Anyway, everything was fine. We wrapped up. And I don't, as you can tell here on these like stretches, I don't dawdle in between. I'll do about 5 seconds or 3 if I can't swing 5 seconds. So there's Mama Griff. Her dinner is ready. Yes, it's super late. Her dinner is ready. Yeah, sorry, not much interesting things beyond this today. Today is day 2 of Biden's presidency. For context, in the future, when the aliens dig this up, he's signing all the COVID stuff. Hopefully, it went well in the future. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. We need one of those comments that's like, signing this in 2021, so I remember it in 2031 or whatever. Tomorrow's gonna be another early day for me to get some shit done. I might, in fact, call it like more of a break of a day. I might do one. I'll probably just do the video and like kind of lay off the arm. You might, eagle-eyed viewers might have seen the strips. There was stitches. They took those out and they put paper strips, and those have fallen off now. And everybody recommends, other than the doctor who I can never get a hold of, everybody recommends I just leave it open and it'll start to really heal up and look a lot nicer. It looks a little grosser maybe here than it really is because it still has some of the glue and stuff from the strips on there. But yeah, I'm going to clean that up and show it off again tomorrow and see how it looks. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, please.